everyone, and welcome to Alex Goes Coconuts. So today I'm going to show you how to make a super easy and delicious one-pan chocolate cake. So this is a super easy recipe. You don't need a box cake to do it. It's all ingredients that you can find in your own pantry. So this cake is great to make for birthday parties. It's great also to make if you're having one of those chocolate cravings because it's really easy to whip up. And it's also great if you want to make a special treat for the family. Now I'm going to show you some vegan alternatives to the cake. I will be using eggs and milk, but you can make this cake dairy-free and vegan. So I'll show you how to do that a little bit later in the video. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So in a large mixing bowl here, we're going to go ahead and measure out 1 3/4 cups of flour. So this is all-purpose unbleached flour. So that's 1 cup and 3/4. So 1, 2, 3/4 cups. So to that, I'm gonna go ahead and add cocoa powder. Now this is gonna be the chocolate in our chocolate cake. So this is unsweetened cocoa powder, and I like to use Dutch processed cocoa powder. It's a lot less bitter than regular cocoa powder. So we're gonna go ahead here and measure out 3/4 cups of cocoa powder. 1, 2, and 3. So to this, I'm gonna add 2 1/4 teaspoons of baking soda. 1, 2, and 1/4. Like that. And I'm also gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. There you go. Next is a teaspoon of salt. Now you always want to add salt when you're baking any kind of dessert to balance out the sweetness, right? So a teaspoon of salt. And whenever I'm baking anything chocolate, like whether it's a chocolate cake, a brownie, anything at all, I like to enhance the flavor of the chocolate by adding some coffee to it. Nescafe makes a instant espresso powder, so I like to add 1 teaspoon of instant espresso powder. It will just come and add richness to the chocolate. Now, just a quick note, don't put like a teaspoon of regular coffee grind. This is instant espresso powder, so it dissolves really quickly. Now, if you don't have this, I'm gonna show you another solution a little bit later in the video. Now, the next thing you're gonna do is take a whisk and just whisk it all. So this will just break up the big lumps that might be in your flour. Okay, so once this is mixed, just set this aside, and now we're gonna go ahead and make the wet ingredients. All right, so for my wet ingredients, I'm gonna be using an electric mixer here. It's just easier to combine things using this, but if you don't have an electric mixer, don't worry about it. You can just mix all your liquids in one bowl and just add them to your dry ingredients at the end. So in this electric mixer, I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 cups of sugar. So that's 1. Just gonna add another cup here, and 2. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and add my 2 eggs. Now these are 2 large eggs, and they were sitting out at room temperature. So that's 1. That's 2. Now, if you want to make this recipe vegan, it's really easy. All you have to do is replace those 2 eggs by 1/2 cup of applesauce. So you want to beat this on high until it gives you a nice fluffy, pale yellow, creamy mixture. All right, so now as you can see, the mixture is a nice pale yellow color. This is exactly what I want. Now I'm gonna add the rest of my liquid. I'm gonna put this on low. And to this, you're gonna go ahead and add 1 cup of milk. Now you can use dairy-free milk here, so if you wanna make this vegan or dairy-free, go ahead and use coconut milk, almond milk, whatever milk you'd like. And I'm also gonna go ahead and add 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now this is pure vanilla extract. You can use the artificial stuff, but the pure stuff tastes a lot better. All right, so now that my liquid batter is ready, I'm just gonna go ahead and add the dry ingredients on low very slowly. Now I like to scrape down the sides of my bowl at least once. So just go ahead and scrape the bottom and the sides of your bowl as such. One more mix. The next step is to add 1 cup of boiling hot water to your cake batter. Now this is gonna help the chocolate expand. It's gonna give you a more in-depth chocolate flavor. It's called blooming the chocolate. So on low, really slowly, we're gonna go ahead and add 1 cup of boiling hot water. Now, if you didn't have any of that powdered espresso that I added previously to my dry ingredients, instead of 1 cup of boiling hot water, you could have gone ahead and added 1 cup of hot brewed coffee. All right, so I went ahead and took a 9x13 cake pan here. This is a non-stick cake pan. And I went ahead and buttered it all. And then now I'm gonna add a bit of cocoa powder just to ensure that the cake doesn't stick to the bottom. And I like to use cocoa powder instead of flour just so that, you know, the cake stays black on the sides. You know how chocolate cake sometimes when you flour your cake pan, then the chocolate cake comes out with white sides? Well, this will avoid that problem. So there you go. I've greased and floured my cake pan. So now we're gonna pour in our cake batter, super easy. Like I said, one pan for all of it. So this is gonna bake in the oven for 29 to 32 minutes. So I like to put it at 29 minutes and then check it with a toothpick after 29 minutes. And then you can see if the toothpick comes out clean, it's ready. And if the toothpick comes out and it's still a little bit dirty, just keep it in there a little bit longer. So into the oven you go. So while that's baking, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to make the chocolate frosting that we're gonna put on top of this cake. To make the chocolate frosting, the first thing we're gonna do is measure out 3 cups of powdered sugar. So I put this in this medium bowl here. And to this, I'm gonna go ahead and add half a cup of cocoa powder. Now, this again is where the chocolate flavor is coming from in the chocolate icing. So now I'm gonna just take this dry mixture and sift it because you definitely don't want lumps when you're making icing. You want a nice, smooth, creamy icing. So we're just gonna go ahead and put all the dry ingredients in our sifter here. Sift it all out. Get rid of any lumps with your fingers. If you have a flour sifter, you can use that too, whatever you have on hand. All right, so let's set this aside. So to make the chocolate frosting, I like to use butter and vegetable shortening. So I use half a cup of butter and half a cup of vegetable shortening. Now, if you want to make this completely vegan, you don't have to use the butter at all. You can just go ahead and use all vegetable shortening, or you can use a butter replacement like Enjoy Life. So in this mixer here, I'm just gonna go ahead and add 1 stick of butter, which is half a cup of butter, and half a cup of vegetable shortening. And I'm gonna mix this on high until it's nice and smooth and mixed together. All right, I'm just gonna scrape down the bowl here. So then, now that that's mixed together, I'm gonna go ahead and add 2/3 of my powdered sugar with my cocoa powder here that I sifted previously. So I'm just gonna go ahead on low and add 2/3 of this. Now this will give me a really crumbly texture, so I'm gonna go and add some water or some milk by the tablespoonfuls, and we're gonna go really slowly until it gives me a nice creamy mixture. That's 1 tablespoon. It's already starting to come together. Maybe another tablespoon. All right, that's pretty good. And now I'm gonna also add 1 tablespoon or so of pure vanilla extract. Okay, so now I'm gonna add the rest of my dry ingredients on low again until it all incorporates. Just gonna scrape down the edges of my bowl here to get rid of the flour on the edge. So now I'm gonna beat this on high until the mixture becomes light and fluffy, and it's gonna become paler and paler as I keep beating it. So that's pretty much what you want your icing to look like. It's nice and fluffy and light in color. So we're gonna set this aside and wait for our cake to finish baking. We're gonna let it cool completely before we ice the cake. All right guys, so my cake has cooled completely now. So it's time to ice it. So I'm gonna take a spatula here. The way I like to do it is put all the icing on the top of the cake, right in the middle. And then I'll take a little spatula here and spread it out to the edges from the middle. It's just the easiest way to do this. All right, now the last thing to do, just put some sprinkles on the top. I love sprinkles. It makes everything super happy and cheery. This is perfect if you're making a birthday cake for kids. But sprinkles are nice just for an everyday thing. Look how fun and cheery that is. All right, let's try out this cake. So good. It's fluffy and chocolatey and delicious. Okay guys, so that's how you make a one-pan chocolate cake. I hope you liked my video. Let me know in the comments below if you do try out this recipe. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the little bell for notifications. Thanks for watching guys. Happy baking!